Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. I just want to start off by saying my bad. I played the wrong intro. I played the wrong intro, brothers and sisters. This is not Kingdom Conversations. Although Brother Cleo, he is back and running and doing some Kingdom Conversations. He just did one recently. This is going to just be a show. You guys have already seen the title. Those of you who have already joined us, Hypocrisy DeMOCKracy. Israel bombs Iran again. So that's what this show is going to be about tonight. Brother Lasha, how you doing, bro?
I'm blessed, man. All praises be to the Most High of Israel. We definitely want to get into some of these current events. I know we're going to the manuscript. We're going to go into the manuscript, but we definitely want to know where we're at in prophecy. What's happening out there? You know, for us to say, let us go, for us to believe in our own deliverance, we have to pay attention to the signs. When you're talking about checking, your astrology bookmarks and checking the stars and things like that, we're talking about looking at the things that's going on around us, like what's happening in the world that pertains to us. You know, shalom, we are Judah. Everything that's happening in Israel right now, between Iran, any of the world events that leads to the culmination of the times, is concerning our people, the deliverance of our people. So these are some of the things we need to start talking about. We need to know what's going on around the world. We need to know what's going on with the people who reside in our stead, reside in our land, reside in our heritage, while we carry around the names or made up names of our oppressors. So, Brother Najee.
That's true. We're going to go through some scripture now. Where do you want to start, bro?
Now, what we're going to do, we're going to actually start off with showing some of the hypocrisy of this nation, not just America or, spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, but to show some of the things that they have denied us by right, but the things they're all too willing to give to their own people. But why is it, and how do we know that Esau or Edom is the one that's operating in the earth, that's going throughout the earth, conquering with the sword? So what we're going to do, brother, we're going to grab up Genesis. Let me see. Grab up Genesis chapter, so we're in 29. I believe we're in 29.
Genesis 29.
No, grab up Genesis chapter 27. And this is read Genesis 27, 39, and 40.
All right, Genesis 27 verses. Say the verses again, my bro.
39 to 40.
39 to 40. Okay, let me share my screen right now.
Because there's still some debate about who Esau is. And the reason that it has to be established who Esau is, so we can understand the players that's out there in the earth. Like we did a video once about Moab and Ammon. Like we need to understand who the players are, who's doing what, and how it does it pertain to us. All right, so Genesis chapter 27, verses 39 and 40. Let me read,
All right.
brother.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read it. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from
Now stop
above.
right there, brother. It says, thy dew, or the fatness of this is thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. We're talking about being all over the earth. We're talking about everywhere there's grass, everywhere where the sun raises and the moon shines its light at night. That it says his dew should be the fatness of the earth. Everywhere on the earth, he should be his dwelling. Now we commonly can recognize this as that no matter where the so-called white man is on the earth, he just operates under another name. In Australia, he's the Australians. In Europe, he's European. In Canada, he's Canadian. In the Ukraine, he's a Ukrainian. You know, in Israel, he's so-called Israeli. No matter where he's at on the earth, he's still operating. He's operating under the same spirit he has here. He just has a different name, but the same face, same features, same genetics, same motivations. Go ahead, brother.
All right. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Now we know under King David, we finally put them under subjection, and sometime later on, they actually broke the yoke, and they ended up getting the dominion, going into different parts of the world. If you go into the Book of Joshua, they started to mix with Cheatham. Um, they started to go amongst Japhet and became part of the Greek nation, and then the Romans, and so forth and so on. This is how Esau has gone throughout the earth. This is how he's gotten the dominion when over the earth through the sword, and commandeering lands, mainly following us all over the earth. So that's what we're going to show in some of these current events. We're going to show that the same motivations apply now. Now, I don't know if everybody's aware about the current strike. You had a year and a half ago. Just do a quick recap. Israel or Israelis, they killed a high diplomat or a high political figure of Iran. And then recently, they struck the embassy in Syria, I believe it is. And then Iran, for the first time in over 200 years, which was very rare for Iran to have a military offensive against a nation from its own land. Now, I know the days leading up to yesterday and today, it was talking about whether the Israelis would respond. Now, we're going to show a quick video real quick showing that the Israelis did respond. And we're going to make that real quick and sweet. Matter of fact, brother, play the fair uses to get that out the way real quick.
All right, we'll do.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. And this is a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Now, the first thing we're going to look at is the Prime Minister. I don't know why I keep butchering this man's title. He's actually the Speaker of Foreign. He's the Foreign Minister of Iran. Now, we're just going to go back a little bit to where before Israel actually struck again, and what Iran said it would do in case Israel struck again. And I want us to check that out because right now, and I know that the news is saying that Iran has said that they will not respond back immediately. And you have some reports saying they might not respond back at all. But the main one, if you go by what the Ayatollah said, he says Iran not planning to strike back Israel immediately. And that right there leaves a lot of ambiguity there. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. And we'll go to make sure I get to the right video. Which one? All right, here we go. Let me know if you can hear it, brother.
We will not continue.
Yep, we can hear it and see it. Yep.
All right, now let's look at what he says.
However, in case the Israeli regime embarks on adventurism again and takes action against the interests of Iran, the next response from us will be immediate and at a maximum level. It will be decisive. Our response will be decisive through the Swiss embassy in Tehran. We have announced to the White House, sent a message to the White House and Washington, D.C., the administration, in which we reiterated that if the Israeli regime commits that grave error once again, our response will be decisive, definitive, and regretful for that.
All right, so we're going to stop right there. So now the news right now is saying that Iran possibly won't respond. Now, mind you, this is what they said before Israel actually struck back again. Now, what did Israel strike? And what was the motivations? And that's what we want to talk about. What was the motivations behind Israel's strike? Why did they strike the way they did? Because the only one that people are talking about is the one in Iran. You're not hearing as much news about the fact that Israel actually struck Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Now, why did they strike all three? Why is Israel dead set on this conflict with Iran? And it's been going on for a long time. Finally, we have military conflict where they're going back and forth. But what is the motivation behind that? So we're going to play another quick news report showing that Israel did strike Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Now, mind you, in this report right here is saying working to confirm and gather more information. You know they got to throw that stuff out there. Same way they use words like allegedly when they know the person who did it. But we're going to show this quick video as well too. So let me stop sharing and show this video, just so people can see.
Trey Yinks saying he is following reports of large.
Can you hear it, brother?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Explosions in Iran, Iraq, and Syria, working to confirm and gather more information. Now, I'm going to read a little bit from the Jerusalem Post, who is saying that an Israeli missile strike targeted a site in Iran early Friday morning, according to ABC News. The report came shortly after local sources reported explosions in Isfahan in central Iran, as well as in the As-Suwaida governorate of southern Syria and in the Baghdad area and Babil governorate of Iraq early.
Now these reports is that Israel struck Iran, Iraq, and Syria. Now, why would they do that? Why would they strike three nations or three Muslim nations or three targets when their main conflict, at least what it looks like, is that they're supposedly going back and forth with Iran? Why would they strike Iraq, Syria? Why would they give the Muslim world any more motivation to join together against Israel, especially considering, and we won't look at another report on it, that Biden said that America will not support Israel in any offensive military strikes against Iran. Brother, am I right or wrong?
Yeah, no, he definitely said that. And another thing, it comes up to some question as to why they're calling this a response from Israel based on Iran's attack. And they used the word in one report, I heard the word feeble. You know, it was a feeble attack, a feeble attempt. And in some other reports, excuse me, I also heard that it was almost an attack or a response that begged for calm, that begged for the escalation of any of this to stop. And that's a lot of the reports that I've been hearing back. And I think that any response at all, any bombing response, right? Even if it's intercepted, even if it doesn't cause damage or any loss of life, the way Iran the video you just played, you were calling him the prime minister. Now I'm calling him the prime minister.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I keep looking at man's.
But what he seemed to say is that any response at all would cause Iran to, strike back with force. And that's just really interesting that now that the responses are happening, now we sort of see in the news media, especially, a kind of change in the attitude of both parties.
Right, and with this change, it makes you wonder. Okay, if we're hearing reports that Israeli citizens are leaving Israel in record numbers, like they're leaving in record numbers. You have a lot of countries, and I seen one particular report where the Edomite was talking to a friend of his that lives in the area, and he was like, "Hey, should we leave? Should we, pack our things?" He said, "Not yet. It's not there yet. Everybody's worrying about the brink of World War III." Now, we would say that there's no doubt that these events will lead to it. What's the time frame? We can't say we know the time frame. Will it be more sooner than later? What is sooner than later? We just know that these are the signs that World War III, we're on the precipice of World War III, if not saying that we're in the beginning stages of it. And what does the Most High tell us to do in these situations? But first, we want to get back to the hypocrisy of the United States or the United States. How is it hypocrisy? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say before you go there, bro. What we were just talking about was the downplaying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me, if I can, bro, just let me show this video real quick. It's
Go ahead, bro.
only 30 seconds, and it's about the foreign minister talking and trying to downplay the response. And I just think this is actually really interesting. Again, bro, let me know if you can hear and see this.
I can see it. I can't hear it yet.
One country tell Iran last night this attack was
Okay.
coming.
You hear it now.
I had the sound off, so I'm going to start it over. Again, it's only 30 seconds. We don't have to play fair use again. I'm just going to say fair use.
When you attacked Israel, you telegraphed that attack. You let other Arab nations know this was happening. Did any other country tell Iran last night this attack was coming?
What happened last night was not a strike.
But did any other country tell you something was happening and they were going to invade your airspace and attack possibly one of your bases?
Two or three, very, they're like more like toys that our children play with, not drones. It was not worth telling us before it happened.
Now, I just want everybody to note and look at that and hear that downplay. Yeah, the downplay of what happened. He literally called them toys, like little drones. And, this is what children play with. I mean, you can't really downplay it any more than that, can you?
Well, I think that Iran, and I mean, look at the vocation between both countries. Israel and the United States says none of the strikes got through the initial hit. Nothing happened. Nothing got through. 99% of the missiles and drones were intercepted. Some politicians, if we would have continued to watch the video where the CNN reporter was talking to the prime minister of Iran, if I got that right now, she was talking about how would you consider it a failure? And Iran is like, listen, we told them in a week in advance exactly what we want to do, the area we want to do it at. War is a pretty transparent engagement between countries now, especially when you're posturing. Right now, everything is posturing. All like war is not broken out. So they're letting each other know this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. This is tit for tat right now. So when you see the United States and Israel make it look like Iran didn't have the capability, that's the furthest thing from the truth. They're also not telling you that Iran formally came out and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. The same way Iran came and said, well, listen, the strike that they just hit yesterday was nothing. It didn't hit this, it didn't hit that. All these things are done by phone call or by communication before they even do it. it's not the element of surprise as if it was an all-out war. This is just the beginning stages of the posturing, the posturing stage. Go ahead, bro.
No. I wasn't going to say anything. I think you're on point. You're on point there, bro.
Right. So the thing is that this is where you get into the fake news. The United States media wants to make it look like the Iron Dome is fully working, that Iran is truly not a threat, even though those who really know the region, know the military, would say Iran is more than just a threat. They're actually more capable than Israel protecting itself. If you had to pick one or the other, who's more capable to cause more havoc in one's land, it would be actually Iran would be able to be more capable militarily to cause more problems in Israel than Israel would be in Iran. Now, what do these things mean? Like, why would Israel, knowing that the United States is not backing them in the moment, why would they go ahead and shoot missiles or whatever they did at Syria and Iraq and Iran? And why is it that the United States is making it look like they're not in collusion with Israel? Why are they making it look like we're not supporting it? The motivation of Israel is different from the motivation of the United States. And I want to play something real quick just to show that America's hypocrisy is on stage for everybody to see. So let me play this video real quick just to show that it was a similar tactic that was done when so-called Lord Rothschild, the one who pushed forward the Balfour Declaration, was brokering between, or actually playing both sides of Napoleon's army with the British. And I just want us to look at that real quick, because that's what you can see America is doing. And we're going to show that America is actually funding everything that Israel is doing. Can't say that you're not the culprit. You can't say that you're not an accomplice to what's happening. Everybody knows if you get in the car and you drive somebody to a store to rob it, you're an accomplice. If you give the person, you put the gun in their hand, you're an accomplice. If you give the person money to pay somebody else, you're an accomplice to whatever crime that they commit. So let me go ahead and start this. Should we do fair use once more, or are we good?
I think we're good. Before you play the video, just scream out fair use, and I think we're good.
All right, fair use. Just listen to this short part about the Rothschilds and how they played both sides when it came to Napoleon and the French government. Was it the French government? And Great Britain. I'm sorry, the British. So let me share my screen. Let me make sure I'm where's one at. There we go. Let me know if you can hear it, brother.
In an attempt,
Yep, we can hear it. Yep.
their power,
Fair use.
Rothschilds did something so evil that it could make the devil cry. While the world was fighting against Napoleon, the Rothschilds decided to play both sides. War is expensive. The British needed money to pay soldiers and buy weapons. Any delay in getting the necessary weapons could allow Napoleon's army to rush in and defeat the British. The Rothschilds took advantage of this situation to give quick loans to the British government. If lending to individuals was profitable, imagine how much more profitable lending to a government was. Even though the Rothschild loans came with heavy interest, it was what they did next that showed their diabolical genius. The Rothschilds went behind the backs of the British and offered loans to Napoleon too. By the year 1815, the Rothschilds were supplying Napoleon with gold and silver to buy weapons to attack the British, and at the same time were supplying the British with money for guns and bombs to attack Napoleon. They did this so no matter who won the war, the Rothschilds would be on the winning side. Whoever won would also owe the Rothschilds millions of pounds, meaning the Rothschilds would still be the most powerful banking family in Europe. But their strategy had a fatal flaw.
Traitors,
Now we're going to stop the video right there because we're going to show the parallel between what the United States is doing and what the Rothschilds did back then. Now, brother, you remember the article we were talking about where it talks about how Israel will have to pay back a certain portion of the money that Congress just passed to give to Israel? We're looking at the same situation play out again, the same blueprint, given the fact that the Rothschilds are truly the ones responsible for the foundation, or what you would call the modern Jewish state. So let's grab up this article real quick. Let me see. I think this is it. Is this it? No, that's not the one. Matter of fact, let's see. This might be the one right here. Let's see. No, which one am I looking for? All right, here we go.
Got it.
Hold on, let me just make sure. All right, here we go. This is actually the one for the Ukraine. I want to find the one that we were just looking at for Israel, and it was in one of these. Make sure, because Congress just passed a bill where they're going to give Israel $26 billion in foreign aid. Now, this just passed foreign aid to Israel for $26 billion. Now, this $26 billion is to be used to continue whatever efforts Israel has against its so-called enemies. Let me make sure this is the right article. I just was looking at it. I think this one is it right here. So let me share my screen real quick. Well, brother, do you have the article I sent to you?
I don't have it up, but I do have the one that's it's a 95 billion house package focused on aiding Ukraine and Israel.
Right. I think that's the same article. So okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share this one real quick. And we'll start right here. Can you see my screen?
I can see it, bro. Yeah.
All right. So it says, how much aid would Israel get? It says the bill provides $26.38 billion to support Israel and reimburse U.S. military operations in response to recent attacks. $26 billion in recent attacks. Some $5.2 billion will go towards replenishing and expanding Israel's missile and rocket defense system. Another $3.5 billion will go to purchasing advanced weapon systems. $1 billion to enhance weapons production, and $4.4 billion for other supplies and services provided to Israel. Now, the United States citizens, or the citizens of the United States, is under the impression that Israel is the one waging war on the Palestinians. The United States citizens is under the impression that Israel is going at these things on their own. But a bill just passed through Congress, and this is just what passed recently. This is not talking about the other billions of dollars that the United States have given Israel. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about how much money the United States have given to Israel since the so-called League of Nations, when Israel was made into a given statehood. But we're talking about $26 billion given to continue the war effort, not only against Palestine, but right after the conflict with Iran. So how is the United States hands clean of the war effort of Israel? How is it that the United States or Joe Biden can say that they won't support an offensive against Iran or even Palestine when they're the ones paying for it? Brother, you want to touch on that?
Oh no, I think you touched on it really well. It's something else that I read a bit earlier. Congress is doing this, and from the Democrat side, it's something that they did by pushing it through, rather, that was a bit unheard of. And this was, something that I guess they kind of went through some kind of backdoor way of pushing it through. But this is something that is unheard of with Democrats and Republicans getting together, certainly in this current climate of, our Democrats and Republicans fighting each other. So it was somewhat of a surprise, and I say that with my fingers up in quotes, that they would do this and push it through so fast.
Now, brother, before, I know we're going to start off that video that we were going to check out regarding Netanyahu's motivations that's leading to World War III. But go to the specific part where Netanyahu talks about how they have their finger on Congress and the Senate. And then you see why a bill like this would pass. How could the United States pass a bill giving them $26 billion? Now, mind you, we're going to go into the subject of how is it that they can pay this money just like that when they were willing to destabilize Haiti for a mere $21 billion. Now, this is nothing. This is just what supposedly is going towards the fight with Iran. Never mind the motivations behind. We already know that the United States already sees a conflict with Russia. So why not help the Ukraine try to weaken them as much as possible, even though that's not going to happen? That's wasting money. We're going to show how much money they're giving them. But how did Congress pass a bill to give Israel that type of money when our people haven't received reparations, repatriation? We haven't given reparations for any of the slavery, any of the death, any of this, the social injustice, the lack of education, the 400 years of rape, robbery, murder, and slavery. We haven't been given anything. We haven't been paid back what's owed to us because there's no money. Every time the subject comes up, there's no money. But in situations like this, the United States has all the money that you would need to fund wars. Wars supposedly that they don't have their hand on. Brother, you have that part queued up?
Yeah. Can you see it on the screen?
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair use. Let me know if you can't hear it. I'm gonna just let it play.
These three. Netanyahu spent many years living and working in the United States and has always believed in his ability to influence America.
אנחנו הולכים למסלול התנגשות עם הממשל האמריקאי. ארצות הברית זה לא מקשה אחת, זה לא מקשה אחת. יש את הסנאט, יש את הקונגרס, יש את הכוח היהודי שהוא עצום, יותר חזק משהיה אי פעם. יש דעת קהל, יש לנו כוחות כבירים בדעת הקהל.
Say that again, bro. I'm sorry.
Go back to that previous part real quick where it just says we have the Senate. Now, mind you, this is an interview he did back, I believe, in his first term of being prime minister over the country of Israel. Go ahead, brother. Start it again and just pause when he starts to talk about we have the Senate.
Okay.
His ability to influence America.
אבל אנחנו הולכים למסלול התנגשות עם הממשל האמריקאי. ארצות הברית זה לא מקשה אחת, זה לא מקשה אחת. יש
He says
we have that on the screen. What he's saying, we have the Senate, the Congress, and a record-strong Jewish lobby on our side.
Now, he says that the United States is not a united bloc. We have the Senate, the Congress, and a record-strong Jewish lobby on our side. Go to the next phrase of words he's saying, and you can pause again.
All right.
את הסנאט, יש את הקונגרס, יש את הכוח היהודי שהוא עצום, יותר חזק משהיה אי פעם. יש דעת קהל.
Right there. We have strong influence over the general support of America. Now, brother, do you want to say again what bill or who passed the $26 billion? What house?
That was the House. The House. House, yeah. Democrats and Republicans, exactly.
So if you go back this far, you can see that Israel knows that it has the Senate in America. It has Congress. That's why if you want to, matter of fact, let me share my screen real quick. Let's just keep it right there. Let me share my screen real quick. This is why since 1946, since the League of Nations, America has given $312 billion, 500 million to the state of Israel since 1946. As you can see right here, U.S. foreign aid by top 5 recipient countries adjusted for inflation 1946 to 2021. $312 billion given to Israel alone. I'm not even talking about nobody else. $312 billion. Now, for Israel to get that amount of money, and this money is passing through Congress, I guess Netanyahu's statement that they have Congress, they have the Senate, and they have a strong influence over the United States. I can't remember the exact words he said on the second one. Now we can see how they're getting all this money out of this country. Now, when we see that rappers and stuff like that, when they say that the Ish people run this country, they have all the money, it has new meaning, has new understanding. Brother, you want to comment to that?
Oh no, man, that's right on point. I mean, you know, it's the word is I don't want to say it because we're gonna get flagged, but that anti-word that they like to use and throw around now, right? That's what's going on when you say that they got all the money, that they run America. We got Netanyahu right here. I believe this video is way back. We're talking about maybe the 70s here.
Right, right. When he did his first term as prime minister, that he
Mm-hmm.
said that we have now, mind you, if their influence was that strong then, what do you think it is now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What
We
do we
have the actual quote. We have strong influence over the general support of America.
so when you have American citizens, but why are we giving them $26 billion? When they say we talk about they're saying we damn sure ain't saying we. So they know we when it comes to Zion and the people who oppress us. But now we can see how they get that type of money. Now we can see how easy it is. We can see what's controlling us from getting our reparations. The United States government, or the government in this country, really doesn't have the say we thought it did. Or that is just one with the people who do have a say, like the modern state of the Ish people. That I guess we would have to go through them to say, let us go, to give us reparations, repatriation. $312 billion. Imagine that.
Mm.
312 billion, and that's before the 26 billion they just signed to give to them through Congress the other day. That's before.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even talking about what was given from the Balfour Declaration in 1917 all the way up until 1940. We ain't even talking about the money that was given then, or the money they made in this country through the slave trade. We're just talking about money that was given in foreign aid. That's a specific denotion, foreign aid. We're not talking about what was given through the church, because we know that the church gives what $2 billion a year. I guess you could say the church, the Christian church, gives to Israel. We talk about billions there as well. So the modern state of Israel, they have unlimited funding, being such a small country, no different than any other Edomite nation. So when we look at that, let's check out something else real quick. 1 second. We want to look at this money that they're giving to the Ukraine. Now, how much money are they giving to the Ukraine? And one thing's interesting, if you notice that some of the people that's actually fleeing the modern state of Israel are actually from the Ukraine. Jewish people that's from the Ukraine, showing that there's not much difference, or if any difference at all, from the people that's sitting in the modern state of Israel, that's sitting in Turkey, they're sitting in the Ukraine, sitting in Russia. They're pretty much all the same people, just the same people on a different landmass with a different name. So let me share my screen once again. Let me stop that and show this other article about the foreign aid they're giving to Ukraine. And let me see. Here we go right here. Can you see this, brother?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
The Joe Biden administration and the U.S. Congress again, have directed about $75 billion in assistance to Ukraine, which includes humanitarian, financial, and military support, according to Kiel Institute for the World Economy, a German research institute. The figure does not include all war-related U.S. spending, such as aid to allies. The historic sum, I don't know how it's historic, but are helping a broad we gave up $312 billion. The sums are helping a broad set of Ukrainian people and institutions, including refugees, law enforcement, and independent radio broadcasters, blah, 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 blah. Now, the United States giving $75 billion in assistance to the Ukraine, more of their brothers. But what is the motivation for that? As we stated before, is that you can see the motivations behind that is because America knows eventually the conflict in Russia will start. I mean, I guess it will behoove them to fund a war that might possibly weaken their forces leading into any conflict with them. but $75 billion. So we said about 75 billion here, 26 billion here, 312 billion since 1946. But there's no money whatsoever for reparations. No money to pay what you owe, but you have money to give in a humanitarian effort or in foreign aid to your brothers in different lands to help their war efforts. So who's really funding the war against Palestine? When Russia said, when Vladimir Putin said, he said that they had support for Iran, and that the foreign minister for Iran said that America if they keep on helping the genocide in Palestine, they will, that I believe it said the fire will touch them as well. What is he really talking about? Because I think that everybody knows America is funding these things. You can't say Israel is operating by itself. America is funding it, even if the modern state of Israel owns the House, owns the Senate, the Congress, and that they can pretty much take a blank check and write it for themselves. Go ahead, bro.
Right. No, I was just agreeing with you, and part of what we're about to show, some of that information we're about to show may show the core, right? May show the core reason why we are funding them, what they actually believe, and maybe some of these Christians here, right? Because we are a quote unquote Christian nation, right? What some of these Christians here believe and gonna push forward, and one man is behind it. Well, one man is definitely a huge part of that orchestration.
Now, the sister Darlene Franklin says, "What are they expected to gain out of all of this in the end?" Now, that's what we're going to show in this video. What is their motivation? What is the Ish people's motivation? That's what we're going to show in this video. This is what we believe their motivation is, because as we wait on the return of our Mashiach, there's a whole nother, you got the Christians waiting on their version of the Mashiach. And then you have the Ish people that have their version of prophecy, and they're waiting on who they believe is their Mashiach. Brother James Norwood, yesterday, the U.S. has vetoed a Palestinian request to the United Nations Security Council for full UN membership, blocking the world's body recognition of a Palestinian state. And that also, the current state of Israel actually vetoed another, I think it was, who was it? I know they vetoed Palestine, but it was somebody else that they vetoed as well. That's in the same geographical location. They vetoed that they denied them membership to the UN, membership into the UN. And why is that? Why would you want these countries not to have membership? Because you know that you can't operate outside or with committing these war crimes if they were a part of the UN. You know that they would have a voice on the floor of all the conglomerate of nations to bring up the grievances that you're imposing upon them.
Yep.
Brother James Norwood, yeah, hey brother, do you want to come up? Got some insight? You will come up and check us out on the panel. But brother, go ahead and cue the video, and we're going to show what we believe to be the motivation behind Israel.
All right.
How are they doing?
Let me get that. Okay, I got the video up, bro. You got the timestamp?
Matter of fact, yeah, grab up. Started at 1:30.
1:30. Gotcha. Perfect.
And we don't even have to watch the part that we just already showed, but let's just show what we believe the motivation is behind what they're doing. Matter of fact, fair use.
Yes, fair use. Okay, give me 1 second. Pull it up right now. Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna remove the brother's comment for a minute, and we'll go ahead and play this.
Imploding, deeply unpopular with his own people, and under immense pressure from the international community.
La lutte doit être sans merci, mais pas sans règle.
By one of the most powerful Jewish religious figures in the world, that he would be the one to welcome the Messiah. 40 years ago, when Netanyahu was Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, he met Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the leader of the Chabad Lubavitch movement, known simply as the Rebbe.
He said, you know, you're going to this house of darkness, the UN, which was very, very unfriendly to Israel at the time. They called it the house of darkness. They said even in the greatest darkness, if you light a candle, it spreads a great light that can be seen from afar.
The Rebbe reportedly believed Netanyahu had a mission from God to prepare Israel for the coming of the Messiah, or in Hebrew, the Moshiach. Over the next decade, the two men developed a close relationship. Soon after entering Israel's parliament for the first time, Netanyahu paid his respects to his mentor.
Back then, Netanyahu was probably the only ally that he could work with in Israeli politics. He obviously demands from Netanyahu to take some steps to hasten the coming of Messiah, which is to make Israel a more religious place.
Pause there real quick, brother.
Certain concrete steps in this regard. And Netanyahu says,
now, if you didn't hear that, he says Netanyahu's place in the coming of the Messiah. That this rabbi that passed away, which they'll get to that Netanyahu would be some type of vehicle to the coming of what they call the Jewish Messiah, which they believe a prophecy that Netanyahu will help bring about the coming of the Jewish Messiah. Continue, bro.
Yeah, and before I continue, there's also something really interesting they're going to talk about too. How Netanyahu he himself has held on to this belief of what this I think his Rebbe, they called him, what this belief of what he said Netanyahu would be. And I want you to pay really, really close attention to that part of this video. I'm going to let it play now. Fair use again.
that.
Did everybody catch that? One thing that hasn't changed is Mashiach hasn't come. And you need to progress his coming. And then Netanyahu answers, what's on the screen? We're doing. We're gonna make it happen.
Now rewind that part again, brother, so they can see it. Because like we're talking, what is Israel's motivation today? Why are they trying to start this war? Not only just with Iran, but Syria, Iraq. Go ahead and play it, bro.
All right, here we go. Fair use.
Certain concrete steps in this regard. And Netanyahu says, I'm definitely doing that.
The Rebbe never visited Israel, not once. And
he says, not enough. You're not doing enough. Now, what's something that Israel, the modern state of Israel, done progressively since they commandeered the land? Further and further increase the borders, further and further destabilize the region, get more and more enemies in the region. You want to say something to that, brother?
Nah, that's on point. We can see now. I think it's becoming clear, especially with things like this video when we're looking back at the statements from Netanyahu. And as we go further in this video, we'll also be able to see what they actually believe about this. What was his name? Bebe?
Yeah, Rabbi Rebbe.
Yeah, whoever he was, what they actually believe about this man, who he was, and what he's going to be in the coming days. Shall I go? Shall I go ahead and play, bro? Or you got
continue,
some?
brother. Fair use. Fair use.
Okay.
Yet, from his home in Brooklyn, he was able to influence Israeli politics. His influence was recognized by American politicians too. US presidents paid homage to him, establishing and proclaiming a National Education and Sharing Day in honor of his birthday.
And please give my warmest regards to the Rebbe on this his 86th birthday.
Menachem Mendel Schneerson was born in 1902 in the Black Sea port of Nikolaev, which was part of the Russian Empire, but now part of Ukraine. He and his wife lived in Berlin and Paris before fleeing the...
Yeah, I was just gonna stop and be like, he was born in the Ukraine.
Born in the Ukraine. My bad. There's an Ukrainian people, there's a Russian people, there's a Canadian people, there's Israeli people, there's American people, there's a British people, there's a European people. All the people are all the same. All you got to do is look up some of your famous actors and actresses in America right now and look at where they come from and where their grandparents come from.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, bro.
Fair use. Shalom, Sister Wise Society. Great to see you on, sis.
Now, the thing is that, just to address what Sister Darlene Franklin has said, you cannot rush biblical prophecy. Now, the thing is that certain events do cause certain biblical prophecies to be fulfilled or to get to the certain direction of biblical prophecy. Like we know inside the prophecy inside 2nd Ezra, I believe it's 13, that all the nations shall leave from fighting with them to fight with the man that cometh out of the sea. That means that World War III has started. Even when we talk about the Valley of Jehoshaphat. If Israel, which you can see that's what they're doing, they're trying to rush along the unification of the Arab countries or Arab states. And that by them unifying and them being on the opposite side and America being on their side, that you can bring the world into a third world war. That would cause certain things to fulfill. You can't rush prophecy. The Most High already has his time, but certain things happening do fulfill certain steps to the culmination of the times, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the modern state of Israel is doing. They're trying to force certain parts to move in certain directions to bring about the end or bring about the fulfillment of prophecy. Go ahead, bro.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let it play. Fair use.
The Nazis in 1941, seeking refuge in New York, where they put down roots. A decade later, in 1951, he took over the Chabad movement from his father-in-law, who died the previous year. Menachem Schneerson revived and grew the movement for over 40 years until his death in New York in 1994. His followers in Brooklyn were devastated.
Most of them believed he would never die. They still believe Rabbi Menachem Schneerson will be physically resurrected as Mashiach, the Messiah.
A physical
Stop right there, brother.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right there. It says the Jewish people believe that this Rebbe will be physically or resurrected and come back as the Mashiach. Brother, rewind that part again.
Mm-hmm. Will do. Just go back. Let's see, right about here. Let me just let that play.
40 years until his death in New York in 1994. His followers in Brooklyn were devastated.
Most of them believed he would never die. They still believe Rabbi Menachem Schneerson will be physically resurrected as Mashiach, the Messiah.
A physical resurrection when he's going to come back in his full glory, imminently, and redeem the entire world.
Now stop it right there real quick, brother, because I just want to read
That
something real
movement
quick.
is in Brooklyn, in a neighborhood called Crown Heights.
You can pause it.
Stop that right there. What'd you say, bro? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I just want to read Second
Yeah.
Thessalonians, because we want to talk about the man of sin sitting in the temple of God, claiming he is God. So let me share my screen real quick. Just gonna read Second Thessalonians real quick. All right, real quick. Second Thessalonians, we'll start the 3rd verse. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is God." What it says is God? What is the lot of God's inheritance? Israel, his people. It says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is God." It goes further, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Now, if you go back into Genesis, it talk about the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet fulfilled. Another one actually says the iniquity, I believe, of the nations is not yet fulfilled in another book, I believe. But the iniquity of the Amorites, which we can directly connect to Esau or the Edomites, if you go into the version of the Apocrypha of First Ezra, I believe it's First Ezra. It says, "And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." Go back to 2nd Ezra chapter 13. "Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, the adversary, who accuses the brethren day and night." Who's accusing the brethren day and night? "With all power and signs and lying wonders." Even when you talk about fire coming from heaven, all you see when that military strikes is fire falling from heaven. Imagine being a prophet in the days of Jeremiah, seeing all those missiles and whatnot falling from heaven. The technological advancements, the weaponry. It says, "And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved." The love of the truth. Who the Most High's people are, who the Mashiach is, who are the true children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who are the Most High's, who's the lot of his inheritance. Brother, do you want to address anything?
No, that was good. That was a perfect scripture to read right there, especially there at the end, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. That love is obedience. That love is obedience to the law, statutes, and commandments. And that truth is also the law, and they are both in all Mashiach.
Now, when people ask, they say, is Mashiach God? Just to address this question. Mashiach is not the God he prays to. He's not the Father he's praying to. But the Mashiach, no doubt, is a mighty one. If we be gods, how can the Mashiach not be used the denotion God? God just meaning mighty one. Like, look at the definition and not so much how the world has appropriated the word. When you think God, you say, "Oh, the one true God." We're not talking about in that context. We're not saying the Mashiach is the Father who he's praying to. There's one God who created all. But the son of a God is still a God. We being the sons and daughters, it says, "Are ye not gods? But you shall die as one of the princes." So if we be gods, and it says that in the law, then the Mashiach, being a mighty one as well, being the Son of God, being the Son of the Most High. That makes sense?
Makes total sense, bro. Christianity has run a number on us. That's all I got to say.
You got to listen. They got us afraid of words. We're afraid of words, but not thinking about the definition of these words. How can you say that the Mashiach is not a God? He is not the God he's praying to, but it's no doubt he is a mighty one, given the definition, or a ruler, a prince, at the definition of Elohim or El. Now go ahead, bro. To continue the video.
Oh, continue the video. All right. Bro, I almost forgot about the video, bro. All right, let me share my screen again. There we go. I'm gonna play a little bit. I'm not sure if we already played what we wanted to. Did we want to?
Matter of fact, brother, we don't even have to pray. We don't have to even play anymore because we got the gist of it out. If anybody wants to link to this video, you can see it as an entirety. But I think the bulk of what we wanted to say in this video, we've shown already. So we don't need to show any more of that.
Okay, all right. And I'm gonna put the link in the chat for everybody. If they just want to go ahead and watch that video.
So what is it, given these times, what is our next move? What are we supposed to be doing? Like recognizing that the hypocrisy of the nation or the so-called United States, the hypocrisy in this nation, to act as if its hands are clean, that there's no blood on its hands when it's funding the death of millions and millions of people. This is not a surprise considering the genocide committed against our people. The genocide against the children of Israel. We're not just talking about the transatlantic slave trade, but we talk about the perpetual hatred that Esau has had for us in pursuing us, as we talked about last night. When the temple was torn down, he said, raise it, tear it down. That he set fire to the temple. Now we sit here right now and we're looking at $26 billion in foreign aid to the modern state of Israel. $312 billion since 1946. $78 billion to Ukraine, which is supposed to be a record number, man. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about, 10 times the amount that, matter of fact, more than that it took for them to destabilize Haiti. Haiti only wanted $21 billion just to create an infrastructure for stability and to be able to make its own wealth. United States and the French government destabilized Haiti for $21 billion. That's chump change compared to what they just gave away 2 times over in the last couple years. Matter of fact, in the last year. All done through Congress, but we showed why. Let's look at this video real quick about how they feel about reparations regarding our people. Now, this video was done like some years ago, but I think it's important because it tells us what we should do, because the Most High is going to move them towards World War III. We're watching it right now. It doesn't matter what Iran says right now. They've already fired the first shots. Everybody's involved. The whole world is watching. So let me show. Let's see. Let's check this out real quick. I don't know if a lot of you've seen this video. Now, let me know if you can hear it, brother.
Yep, we can hear it and see it. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. How do you? I just think we're so far removed from the event. It was the original sin of the country, and I think let's just make it a more perfect union rather than looking backward, because I don't know where it stops when you do that.
Do you think the idea deserves to be studied further? Some of the 2020 presidential candidates have said that there should be a commission to study the idea further.
I'm not there. I want to move. Listen, the original sin is real. We've tried to overcome all of our mistakes with the American Indian, you name it. We're not a perfect country, but we're trying to form a more perfect union, and I don't think this helps.
What's your take on the idea of reparations? Do you think that would be a good
I don't think any person, black or white, is responsible for what someone else, black or white, did 150 years ago. And I think most Americans feel the same way I do. Slavery was reprehensible. It's indefensible. But reparations presents a whole different issue. And I believe in personal responsibility. And I just don't think someone today is responsible for what someone else did 150 years ago.
Now, that's an interesting position to have, is that he doesn't believe that somebody 150 years ago, that somebody today is not responsible, considering that the very foundation of this country was set up off of our blood, off our backs, and that a lot of institutions are still prospering off the original monies that was by slavery and functioning today. Never mind the fact that we're in the lowest economic conditions. We're still running around with our slave master's name. We still can't leave the country without a passport, and we don't have nowhere to go. that their people are operating in our land under our names, and the list goes on and on. The social degradation, the psychological warfare against our people with the music industry, the movies, every way that you can keep our people down. Even you go to our brothers that's in Haiti, destabilizing the nation, keeping our brothers in Jamaica poor and impoverished, all our brothers in the coastal islands of the Caribbean, keeping us in the ghettos. How could he say that this is something that happens 150 years ago? And they're not responsible today. But they enjoy the fruits of the labor. They enjoy the fruits, not only the fruits of it, but they still have in their possession the slaves of the people they took in slavery. You can't say a more perfect union. A union is the states inside this country that came along, and it was something, we were in different states and they became a union, and they became the United States. These people came here as immigrants. They came here and settled the land, colonization. They brought slave here to help them do that. We didn't come here under a union. We didn't come here under statehood. You can't have a perfect union with somebody that you enslaved and then gave them the Emancipation Proclamation. What union when we're not on the same footing? What union when we are of noble birth, but the Constitution says you have no respect of nobility? What union? The union happened with your brothers who became the United States. What was the state that we were in? What state did we run? What boat did we come over on as immigrants and settle this land? Anybody want to tell me? We didn't come, we wasn't a part of that. So let's take a look at this.
Yeah, before you could go to the video, bro. I just want to say he did mention Graham. He did mention something about the Native American. And although the Native American were, I mean, talk about a people who genocide was committed on, they are a very, very small part of the population in North America today. Yet and still, they are given land. They own a huge amount of land all across this country. They own land in upstate New York. They own land out here in California. They own land in the north, in the Montanas, and they own land in the south.
Well, let me address one thing that, and let's just address real quick, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please forgive me. The thing about the Native Americans is that the so-called Native Americans, let's really look at it for what it is. A lot of so-called Europeans have been able to infiltrate the whatever reparations that they were going to be given by falling under the category of Native American or denoting themselves as Native American. If you go back to if you look at the Seminole Indians, a lot of people don't look at what the Seminole Indians actually were. The Seminole Indians were actually a black tribe of Indians, or you could say all of them are black, just to get to the skinny of it. But the fact is that some of the so-called natives were mixed with the so-called Seminoles, and the Seminole meaning black. At least that was supposed to be the original, the notion of it. And when it was time to give reparations, they actually said the black Seminole Indians were not eligible for reparations because they did not come from those indigenous tribes. Even though the black Seminoles were the tribe of, they were indigenous tribe that was in this country. But when it came time for reparations, they actually separated the black Seminoles, said they were not eligible being or coming from slaves. As a way to say, okay, we're not going to give them reparations, but the ones who they were able to infiltrate, they end up giving some that probably was Native American or so-called Native American, but a lot of them were Europeans. And you can just look it up anywhere you go. You can see a lot of those so-called Native Americans are actually not true Native Americans. And hence here we go, let us go. Why are we saying let us go? Because that's what the Bible tells us, brother. Let's grab a matter of fact, let's read Zechariah chapter 2. There's only 13 verses, if you don't mind.
All right, I get it. Let me grab it up.
Because while the Most High is doing these things, you're seeing the pretext, you're seeing the foundation being laid for our departure. What are we supposed to do in this situation? Grab up Zechariah chapter 2, and we're going to check out something in Jeremiah chapter 51. But then I want to show how this pertains to our exodus, or us saying let us go. Let us go is very important in this paradigm. Can you, brother, can you start off from verse 1?
Verse 1. Just read 1 and 2.
No, read, matter of fact, read down to, let's see, read down to verse 7.
All right. I lifted up mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, Whither goest thou? And he said unto me, to measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him, and said unto him, Run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein.
Now stop right there, brother. Jerusalem is being prepared right now for our return. Whether we see it or not, whether we believe it or not, Jerusalem is being measured out as being prepared for people to return. Ever look up the name Zerubbabel? Zerubbabel literally means the return from Babylon. We're not talking about just his name and his time. His name was an indication of the last return from Babylon. The return from Babylon will build the way of place. The return from Babylon will return, will inhabit the land forever. Zerubbabel. And that's who we are. We represent that name. We will be the return that will inhabit the land, coming as the sand of the sea. Continue, brother.
For I, said the Most High, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, said the Most High, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heavens, said the Most High. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon.
And stop right there. It says, deliver thyself, O Zion, not the dweller with Babylon, but with the daughter of Babylon. What is it talking about? Deliver thyself. Will we leave here empty-handed? Now, brother, matter of fact, just read down to verse 9, please. Matter of fact, it's only 13 verses. Read the rest, please.
All right, will do, bro. For thus said the Most High of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. And ye shall know that the Most High of hosts hath sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I dwell in the midst of thee, said the Most High. And many nations shall be joined to the Most High in that day, and shall be my people. And I will dwell in the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that the Most High of hosts has sent me unto thee. And the Most High shall inherit Judah, his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before the Most High, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation.
Now, the Most High says Judah is his portion. Judah, the tents of Judah shall be risen first. Most High says, deliver thyself. Brother, grab up Jeremiah chapter 51 and read down to verse 8, please.
Jeremiah 51, verse 8. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right there. Share my screen again, and we will be good. Here we go. Jeremiah 51, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed.
Well, brother, I was saying read down to verse 8. If you don't mind, start over verse 8 and read.
How about I read backwards, bro? No, I'm just kidding. Here we go.
Matter of fact, read down to verse 9, brother.
Okay, got it. Here we go. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they will be against her round about.
Now stop right there, brother. If you don't, you remember the what we were talking about when we were talking about the strategic points of the coastal islands of the Caribbean, and we talked about the movie Escape from LA,
Mm-hmm.
and how America's enemies, its strategic points, is actually the islands that we live on. And what one of the main reason America has had such a beef with Cuba and wanted to label them as communists is because Russia actually has I don't know if they have a military base there, but they have a presence there. And I know recently they put several, I don't know how many tanks they did, but they brought some tanks to the coast of Cuba. That's Russian tanks are in Cuba right now. So talk about the enemies being roundabout. That's why America wants such a presence in the Middle East. They want to be in the midst or roundabout the ones that they know is setting them up for the fall. Continue.
Mm-hmm. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his Elohim, of the Most High of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Most High's vengeance. He
Now,
will render.
One second. I'll go continue. I'm sorry. Finish that verse.
Yep. He will render unto her a recompense.
Now it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. It's on us to flee out of Babylon, not leave here empty-handed, not to leave here without being Exodus like the scripture prophesies. But we're talking about using the vocation of our deliverance, using the vocation that our fathers use in Mount Zion, because we won't leave here empty-handed. The same way it says in Genesis, the 15th chapter, verses 13 and 14. It says we shall come out with great substance. But where else does it say that? Continue, brother.
Mm-hmm. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Most High's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, be she may be healed. And that's what I started with there.
All right. So Babylon will fall, but the Most High says, deliver thyself out of the mouth of the prophets. And we're going to grab one more spot, brother. Go to Isaiah, I believe, chapter 61. Now, in fact, Isaiah chapter 60. Give me verses 8 through 12. And everybody keep in mind Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 and 14, where it talks about we should come out with great substance. Let me get 8 to 12, I believe it is.
All right. All right. Isaiah chapter 60, verses 8 through 12. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows?
And who is these
Surely,
that fly cloud as in their doves to their windows? We're talking about a departure. Continue.
surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from afar, the silver and the gold with them, unto the name of the Most High, the Elohim, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee.
Now, stop right there, brother. It says what, brother? Their silver and their gold with them. Their silver and their gold with them. They shall leave with great substance. We will not leave here empty-handed. Let us go means reparations, repatriation. That's what let us go means. As a matter of fact, I don't know why I didn't cite this, and we were in Jeremiah, where it says everybody shall let us. It said, let us go back to our home country. Back in Jeremiah 51. It says, let us go back to our own country. Now, let me tell you something. That is not void of talking about us as well. We will go back to our own country. But the exact phrase in Jeremiah, I believe, is at 58 and 7. Let us go back to our own country. Let us go back to our own country. That's where we're supposed to be saying, let us go back to our own country. Reparations, repatriation. Can't say they don't have the money. Can't say they don't have the money. We just proved that they got all the money they need for the people they want to give it to. But the debt that they owe us will be enforced in their fall. Continue, brother. Finish that out.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day or night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Utterly wasted. For the nations and kingdoms that will not serve thee shall perish. Our gold and our silver will come back with us. They will now. Now we go into prophecies that thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. It says, with thee I will overthrow nations. Well, how do we get to that point? There's a movie out right now called Civil War. As things intensify and the daughter of Babylon enemies lay hold on her, those times will bring about the reparations we're talking about, the repatriation we're talking about. The plagues from the Most High will bring about these things. The Most High raising up the Medes will bring about these things. We wanted to show the hypocrisy of this nation, that they have the money to give to their brothers and sisters that's assuming another name. They don't have no problem giving them money. They have no problem acting as if they're not the ones killing these Palestinians or the ones that's causing these military offenses against Russia through the Ukraine. But we show that America is the one who's fitting to build. America is the one who's putting the gun in their hand. This nation is the one who's making sure that these wars don't stop and that the advancements in the land, it's not just the modern state of Israel and their plight, trying to bring about their Mashiach. Because let me tell you something, there's only one Mashiach, and his name is Yeshaya Mashiach, the one who came for the lost tribes of the house of Israel. There's only one Mashiach. I don't know what they're trying to bring about, but all they're telling us they're bringing about that man of sin. They're revealing themselves as the man of sin. Sitting in the house of God, claiming to be God. They're talking about sacrificing this red heifer and building another temple. Just by the fact that they're pretending to be out, they're sitting in the house of God. What does it say inside the scriptures like 1 Corinthians? It says, ye are the house of the Most High. The Most High dwelleth in you. By them claiming to be us, they're dwelling in the house of the Most High. Because we are the house of the Most High. We are his children. So they just passed the bill. They just passed the $95 billion for aiding those countries. Interesting, like how the same nation is causing the destruction of certain nations can also be the one who's helped rebuild them. The same way like so-called Lord Rothschild did, which we showed.
Mm-hmm.
The hypocrisy of this democracy is a mockery. Brother, you want to say something to that?
No. Why society hates this? She just pointed out what we talked about before. That's the 95 billion split between Ukraine and Israel.
Right. Like, so if you look at the accumulation of monies over the year, and I know we can't count it, we can only give some of the sources that we brought up, that it's, we possibly can be talking about in the trillions. I believe I've seen another report where it says that the United States matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. That was what it was talking about. The worth of the Rothschild family was 1 trillion. It wasn't the actual state of Israel. But either way it go, the Rothschild family did found the state of Israel under the Balfour Declaration.
Mm-hmm.
So they did fund that country, and the people that are there, no more than just more Europeans. That's why if you put any of them in how you don't know who's Jewish and who's not. That's why the whole is ambiguity behind, hey, got to be whoever the mother's with, because you don't know who's a so-called true Jew in the world today. But all the nations on this earth is recognizing the hypocrisy of this nation, the hypocrisy of the so-called nation of Israel. And we know their motivation. They want to bring about the so-called Mashiach. They want to bring back this rebate, or whoever else they might conjure up to say that he's the so-called Mashiach. And let me tell you something. Them Christians is going to go right for it, because he's going to have the complexion for the connection. They damn sure ain't trying to bring saying no. They're bringing back that look like us. So no matter who they say is coming back, they bring back that old Gentile. The Christian religion is going to jump right all over it.
Uh-huh.
They jump right all over. He got the complexion for the connection.
Mm-hmm.
So
all he's got to do, bro, is do one son, man. One son. Just give him one son.
Man, look, let me tell you, they've been playing with signs with that eclipse. It might have been a real eclipse in some places, but they had other places where they was dilly-dallying up in the heavens.
Yeah.
Playing sun games. That's why you got all these videos on TikTok talk about it's 2 suns in the sky, it's 3 moons in the sky. They're playing all types of games with us right now.
Yeah, no
You know
doubt.
what I mean? You got people walking on the sun, you got faces on the moon. Man, let me tell you, they just having fun with it right now.
Yeah.
So before we did you want to say something, brother?
Oh no, I thought you we veered off a little bit. You were gonna show that last video.
Matter of fact, that was the last one. I think
Was it? No.
Matter of fact, I wanted to bring up this one thing is that that I believe is spiritual. Yeah, we talked about earlier that the Most High should make them stubble. I don't know if people have noticed this last person who set himself on fire in front of the New York court building at Donald Trump's trial. Now, this is the second extreme protest where a Edomite has set himself on fire. One was because of the war or the killing of the Palestinians in Gaza. And now you have the one who set himself on fire in protest because Donald Trump is on trial. Now, why is it that these Edomites is going through such an extreme method of protest? Grab that up, brother. He should be stubble.
All right.
And let me say, just to say some of the motivations behind this is that I remember back when you would hear about the kamikaze of the Japanese. I think of the kamikaze when they would take the plane and they would just crash it into the American ships during, I believe, was it World War I?
I believe so. I
Now,
believe you're correct.
And you look at some of the nations when they do certain forms of suicide, that a lot of the European nations viewed it as, hey man, these people are extreme. They're wild. Even though some people might say Ishmael is a wild man, how the scriptures say. Now, let me tell you something. It's nothing wilder than a person who set himself on fire and burn to death. There's nothing more extreme than that. Let me just so I wanted to show this because this is actually spiritual. It's a spiritual thing in protest against their own nation to show that Esau has lost his wisdom.
Did you want to show the video before I just read the verse in Obadiah?
In fact, let's show the video real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll read the verse in Obadiah. And we all know that Obadiah is talking about your neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh man.
Really neighborhood Spider-Man. So let's just check this out real quick. Fair use.
Breaking news around the trial of former President Donald Trump on 2 fronts right now. First, the jury and alternates have been selected for that criminal trial. We'll get to that in a moment, because also about those jurors, because it's been all week of trying to set this jury. There were setbacks where a couple were dismissed at once.
At this time, or whether this individual, this man setting himself on fire, was at all in response to what was unfolding here in this lower Manhattan courtroom. He was on fire for several minutes here before police officers were able to put out the fire on top of him. We saw that he was still moving when he was taken away by ambulance here. Of course, there is a major response, law enforcement response here to this scene.
Now we're going to stop that video. You hear the newscaster because you can hear him better. But now we're going to show a video on TikTok where it actually shows you a little bit of the man on fire. Now, mind you, whatever his motivations was beyond Trump just being on trial, and that shows you that tells you right there the motivation or the love that they have for Trump. You know, when you think about 1 Corinthians says, "In the last trump," sounded like, you know, it's some irony there that Trump will be president again. I mean, that's my feeling on it. Trump, whether he runs as an independent, I don't think he'll get the Republican nod, but he will, to me, in my eyes, even if he has to run as an independent, become president again over this country. So let's check this out on TikTok. Where's it at? And actually, a brother of mine who's inside the chat is actually who sent me this video. If I can find it, I could have swore I just brought it up. Let me see if I can get this thing to come up. All right, here we go. So let me share my screen once more, and we'll show this video where the guy actually set himself on fire. I believe this is it right here. Okay. And you can see him in the background, but not too clear, but.
A man has emblazoned himself outside of the courthouse just now. Our cameras are turning right now. A man has now lit himself on fire outside of the courthouse in Manhattan, where we are waiting as history to be made. A full jury panel is gone. We are watching a man who is fully emblazoned in.
Now, if you can see him, he's just sitting there, look like he's reading a book in his lap. He's not like, look, this is why I say, like, you remember the first guy, he was on fire. He stayed on his feet. This, now, mind you, this is symbolic. You know, this is spiritual. It's spiritual in the fact that these Edomites are setting themselves on fire. And let me tell you something. That's a heck of a way to go to end up in the judgment that's coming for the very people that use this as a symbol of protest.
In front of the courthouse today, we are watching multiple fires breaking out around his body and person.
So I don't know if everybody can see that or not. Brother, grab that up in Obadiah.
Yeah, I already have it up. Here we go. Just need to share the screen. Okay, we got this. Obadiah, verse 18. In the house of Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, in the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Most High has spoken it.
And that's the part where, if you were watching wrestling, that's when Ric Flair will be like, woo! When it says, for the Most High have spoken, and it's a done deal. It can't be undone. The Most High's word will not come back void.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame, in the house of Esau for stubble. And we're looking at Esau setting himself ablaze right now. This is the second circumstance of extreme protest where Esau has set himself on fire. Now we can say, okay, well, that's just some craziness. That's probably somebody with mental health issues. I say it's bigger than that. I say it symbolizes something greater. I think it symbolizes the inevitable. You know, Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning that followeth. So with that being said, brother, is there anything else you want to say to the people?
No, good job today. I think we just need to be watchful, fam. Lots of stuff are tapping off all around the world. I think, you know, the things that we showed today on with Netanyahu and him in the past, and meeting that old rabbi that they believe is going to come back and be their Mashiach. I think that's a reason for it. I think Netanyahu is behind some of this stuff. He's certainly trying to set off these wars in these areas around him. He's certainly trying to ramp things up for what he believes and what his people believe will be the coming of Mashiach. Don't fall for it, fam. You know, we got a lot of you know, Brother Lash always makes fun of me about this because he knows, you know, I come from a Christian background, definitely and absolutely. But one thing that does for me, it helps me to keep a watchful eye on the things that I know Christians believe, and I know Christians will definitely and absolutely fall for very easily. And Christians around the world, certainly Black Christians in the United States, man, you show them a sign, they will follow you anywhere. So people just keep watch, be on guard. A lot of things are tapping off, a lot of things are happening, but we have the Most High with us and we need to be ready. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And I'll let you close us out, Brother Lasha.
And just and I concur with my brother, my elder brother. We got to be mindful. We got to keep watch. And that's what we're trying to do. Like on Friday, we're going to do the current events because we're going to keep watching what's happening because everything pertains to us. Everything that's moving forward pertains to us. And I think it can't be understated. Now, look, don't be over much righteous that you can't see spiritual things. Is that when Netanyahu said that he was moving it on, he was trying. They're literally talking about, and this was back in the 70s. Everything they're doing is to bring about prophecy, to bring about the culmination of the times, to bring about who they believe to be as their Mashiach. That can't be understated. That means that these people don't care who they kill, what they do. Their motivations is predicated on what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to force prophecy to happen. Remember in the scripture says, if the Most High didn't shorten the times and no flesh would be saved. That shows us that these heathens can do things in the earth, and the Most High said, I will not let them accomplish it. That he will shorten the time. He will shorten it because no flesh will be saved. These people want to bring about that fake Messiah. They want to deceive the world. They want to bring about the religious beliefs or the religious doctrines and the religious prophecies. And I say religious prophecies because these are not the prophecies of the manuscript that the Most High gave us out of the mouth of the prophets. These are religious prophecies that they have morphed into trying to make it their own. And like we said before, there's one Mashiach. So you gotta really look at the motivations behind what they're doing. When he strikes, when Netanyahu, the state of Israel, who supposedly doesn't have the United States backing, we see the hypocrisy in that, knowing the United States fit in the bill. But the fact that he struck Syria, Iran, and Iraq, and they're still pushing and mauling their way through these Palestinians to provoke the Medes, to provoke the kings of the Medes, we have to pay attention to that. And we have to do our part on this end. So I want to get a let us go from everybody in here. If you can't say let us go and you want to be in America, don't come back to another broadcast. Go to somebody else's channel that want to be here and go to the movies on the weekends and want to see America, but we're saying to the kings of America, live forever, my Lord. Let me get a let us go from everybody in here. Brother Najee shouldn't be the first one. That's telling me that we should just start over fresh with a new group of people.
Yeah, or we got to start the live over, bro.
We got to get new. There we go. Let us go. Let's go. Let us go.
There we go. There we go.
Let us go. If you want to be here, don't worry. You're going to be forced to leave because when this place is in turmoil and chaos, you better believe, man, everybody that's on a sinking ship looking for a lifeboat. Let us go. We still ain't covered the first page. Let us go. Let us go mean reparations, repatriation. Y'all want y'all names back, right? We want our land back. We want to be in the kingdom that's led by our king. We got to say, let us go. You tired of being broke? You tired of the prosperity teachers? Their gold and their silver should be with them. They'll go out with great substance. You got to say it. Let us go. We got to mean that. That's all our vocation. Every time we sign on, it's going to be let us go. Tell Farrah to let us go. If you're going to do a video, put a little video up for 10 seconds saying let us go on TikTok. Let us go on YouTube. Let us go on Facebook. There we go. Let my people go. We got a part to play, Zion. Because let me tell you something. If their part is to rush about the times, our part is to be ready for the times and be ready to go to serve our Most High in the land that He promised to our fathers. So I'm going to leave us with this. All praises be to the Most High God of Israel. All praises be to His great and mighty name by Hashem Yeshai, His Son, to the restoration of Zion, to all the husbands and the wives and the children and the grandparents, all our posterity that leaves together, not empty-handed, but ready to go back to the land promised to our forefathers. So may the Most High bless all of Zion and keep His watchful eye over us all and keep us safe. And that He set a difference in the earth, that when He plagued these people, that it come not nigh to us, that we're protected like we were when He plagued Egypt. So peace and blessings, Zion, and I hope everybody has a blessed Shabbat. Most High willing, we'll be doing more current events next Friday. You know, we have to say Most High willing because we're not guaranteed the next second, leave it, let alone the next word of breath. So all praise be to the Most High. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings, fam. Thanks for joining us.